This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined all the way from Maryland in the US by the WBC Featherweight Champion of the World, Gary Russell Jr. Gary, how's it going?
Man, it's good. It's good. I'm peaceful at the moment. The family's good. I'm just getting out the gym. I'm in shape, so I'm blessed.
What's the situation where you are right now? I know the US has been really badly hit by COVID-19. How is things where you are?
It's pretty much the same like it is all over the place. Well, at least we don't have the shutdowns as much. We can move around a little more than the average people can, but we were definitely shut down and locked down for a while.
Mm.
Um, and honestly, it showed me that I was in the right direction with my babies in general. I have 6 children, and I want my babies to not be a dependent on society because stuff like this happens. And I teach my babies and I talk to my babies about not having to be a dependent. Don't have to depend to go to the grocery store to get your food or stuff like that you need. So I got my babies. We started growing a garden. We grew gardens, and I'm a hunter, me personally. I like to get in the woods, get in the fields, get my hands dirty. So I'm a hunter. So my baby's got a garden growing. I don't mind putting food on the table, but it gave me the opportunity to instill and instill some things into my babies, and
Mm.
to watch them see the fruits of their labor because now they got watermelon and stuff like that that's growing, and in a minute we're going to be able to eat. And we started the process as soon as this COVID thing hit, and now you can see the fruits of their labor being able to come into fruition. That's something that I want to pass on to the next generation and the generation to come, not to be a dependent on society. And you have the ability and the mindset to go out there and make happen whatever you desire.
Yeah, well said. You said you've got 6 children. As I understand it, are you one of four children yourself?
Oh no, I'm actually my dad. Papa was a Rolling Stone. My papa was a Rolling Stone. My dad actually had 14 children. He had 14 children.
Wow. Okay.
But this is way back when now. Once he got married to my mom, I'm the oldest of 6 boys. It's just me and my mom and my brothers. I'm the oldest of the 6 boys. So it was kinda funny because my wife was the only child. My
Right.
wife's the only child. I come from a big family, and my wife wanted a big family. And I know when I decided to want to start my family of my own, I honestly didn't want a big family because I come from one, and my wife wanted a big family because she didn't. So we had our daughters, and then she's like, "Well, maybe we should have." We had 2 girls, then we ended up having a little boy, and my wife said, "Well, you know what? I think we should try to have another boy so he's not by himself." And then we had twins, so it was just it was just crazy, and she kind of ended up getting what she wanted anyway.
Do your kids do your kids know what you do? Do they like boxing?
Oh my goodness, man. My babies are aggressive. They definitely know what I do. They're in the gym with me from time to time. My wife is in the gym with me. She trains. I have her working out from time to time. So my children definitely have a level of understanding. And it kind of it humbles me a little bit because I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm doing something that I genuinely love to do. Um, I do know that there's people that like the work that I do, and of course I can provide a sense of stability and foundation for my babies as well. But I never really look at it like from the outside looking in. And my 6-year-old daughter, who's soon to be 7, and on the 13th of this month, we
Mm.
have a busy month, by the way. I have my 8-year-old daughter August 1st. Yeah, my 6 going on 7, August 13th. My youngest brother, Isaiah, is August the 25th, and then my wife is August the 26th. So it's a busy month. So, but it's a busy month. But my 6-year-old daughter, she was like, "Well, Daddy, you're famous. She's like, Daddy, you're famous. You're a famous boxer. And I never looked at myself as being a famous boxer. I don't know. I never looked at it that way. I just looked at me loving something that I genuinely do, and it gave me a sense of reality when my babies brought it to my attention.
Well, happy birthday to all your kids coming up, and your brother and everyone. Busy month ahead. So just moving on to sort of your career at the moment, you are the longest reigning champion currently in the division, 5 defenses. One thing people might want to know is it seems that you've only sort of fought once a year since winning the belt. Why is that?
I mean, because nobody else is willing to step in the ring against me. None of the. I have the most prestigious title that there is in the sport of boxing. Period. The WBC is the most prestigious title that there is. None of the other guys in the sport of boxing that was in my weight division was willing to participate and to compete for that title because I was the one that was holding it. They didn't want to get in the ring and compete against Mr. Gary Russell Jr. So of course I fight once a year. You know, I don't want to give the fans something watered down. You know, I want to fight against good competition. So I'm fighting my mandatory challengers once a year. And to the fans, to the people who really don't know, the mandatory challengers are the next best guys to the champion. The champion is not the number one. The champion is the champion. The mandatory challenger is someone that worked their way all the way up the sanctioning body and fought to be able to challenge the champion for the title. He's the next best guy. So I've been fighting the next best guy to the champion because none of the other champions was willing to unify or step in the ring and compete against me.
So in terms of the other champions, obviously we know now Shakur Stevenson's moved up. Josh Warrington's got the IBF. Santa Cruz WBA. Were you offered to them, to the likes of Josh Warrington, Shakur Stevenson? Did you offer them a fight?
None of them wanted to fight me. It's funny, Josh. Let's talk about Josh Warrington, for example. Josh Warrington, he never mentioned my name until he was obligated to compete against someone else. He wasn't mentioning my name before he fought Kid Gallahan. He wasn't mentioning my name before, you know, these other guys, but they only mention my name where they'll have prior obligations to get in the ring and compete against someone else. So it makes it seems as though, or it looks as though to the fans or from the people outside looking in, that this guy really wants to try to fight, but he's not. He's trying to bamboozle the fans and trick the people and make them think that he really want to fight, knowing that he's obligated to fight someone else. You know, and these are some of the tactics that a lot of these guys were doing. Even Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton had the opportunity to compete against me. He was moving up from 122. He moved up from 122, and they made him the mandatory challenger. Once he moved up to 126, they made him the mandatory challenger to fight in an eliminators bout, and the winner will compete against me for the WBC world title. But these are some, I'm just pointing out some of the tactics that these guys use. Carl Frampton, someone who was moving up from 122, now moved to 126, and he lost on the scale. He lost on the scale. Now, what this does is the fact that he lost on the scale, it automatically disqualifies him to be able to fight me for the title. But he still fought and won the fight. He still fought and won the fight, but now he's disqualified to fight me for the title. These are just some of the tactics that goes on behind the scenes that the fans and a lot of the media don't understand or don't even see that what goes on. Now, this is the guy that moved up from 122. You're moving up in weight. You shouldn't have a problem making weight, but you lose on the scale to give you the possibility to fight for the title. But the catch is this. The WBC was the title that was on the line, which was the title that I had. Now, let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson had the title in my weight division. You never hear Shakur Stevenson ever mention that he wanted to fight Mr. Gary Russell Jr. He wanted to fight Josh Warrington. Even Lee Selsby, when Lee Selsby had the title, I was willing to fight Lee Selsby, but the fight never transpired. A lot of these guys are afraid to get into the ring with a real animal. A lot of these guys are boxers. I'm a fighter. It's a difference.
That said, if you were to fight any of the current champions at the moment, and there was a possibility that the fight would happen, which one at the moment do you want out of all of them?
Which one of the champions I won out of all of them? I would have loved out of which ones? Just out there in the UK or just in general?
In general,
Oh my goodness. I got a mean list.
at your weight class first.
Uh, at my weight division, to be honest with you, at 126, if Josh Warrington want to fight me, I'll fight him. He's nothing but a bar. He's a brawler. He's a bar fighter at best. You know, he got good conditioning. He got a lot of fights, but he don't have any knockout. He don't have any punching ability, punching power. He just wants to come forward and throw a lot of punches. He'll get his ass beat doing that with me. Um, Shakur Stevenson, he's a good fighter. I actually sparred with Shakur Stevenson before.
Hmm.
It's a video. It's a video out there. It's an interview out there, and people that want to do their homework. It's a video out there, and they had asked Shakur Stevenson who did they feel as though was fair in the fight between me and the Gervonta Tank Davis. And Shakur Stevenson told them, he said, "Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I worked with both of them, and the hardest I've ever been hit was by a right hook by Mr. Gary Russell Jr." So, I mean, I think Shakur Stevenson would be the one who would have the most balls to be willing to get in the ring and compete. You know, I definitely think he'll have the one to be the most balls to get in the ring and compete. But even with that being said, I do know deep down inside he know he can't do nothing with me. We worked before. We worked with each other before. He is levels. He's definitely a good fighter. I knew he would become a world champion. Just like the last guy who I fought, King Tut. Let's talk about King Tut, my last opponent.
Yeah.
My last opponent, King Tut. Now Shakur Stevenson lost in the I think the gold medal rounds in the Olympics, correct? Now the guy that Shakur Stevenson lost to turned professional, and King Tut fought him and beat him in the professionals. So the guy that Shakur lost to, the guy who I just beat that ass. So you can just do the math. I mean, it's levels to it. But I definitely knew Shakur was gonna have what it takes to be a world champion. You know, it just wouldn't be able to shake on this end. I mean, Andre Ward even said that. They asked Andre Ward, who's in his team, his part of his promotional team, management team, or something. They had said that Shakur was ready before. They said that Shakur was ready for all the champions. You know, and when they mentioned my name, Andre Ward was like, "Yeah, Gary's the most seasoned, so I think we'll try our best to we'll probably stay away from him." You know, and this is coming from a gold medalist, one of the best, one of the pound for pound fighters, one of the guys that you can probably say is one of the best that's done it thus far. So I don't know, man.
Um, if you don't obviously secure a unification clash, I know you've mentioned quite a few names which we'll get into, but are you planning on moving up? I mean, PBC have announced a lot of dates. Could we see you potentially on one of those cards, or are you looking to move up?
I'm definitely looking to move up. You know, a lot of the guys that I really want to compete against, they're moving up in weight in the weight divisions. I definitely want to rematch with Vasiliy Lomachenko. He got a gift. He got a gift. I had to lose 5 pounds before the fight, um, because of my negligence for not just knowing what the skill was that we were using. But that's neither here or there. He got a gift, and I would love to fight him again to break my foot off in his ass. If we fight 100 times, 99, I'm going to beat him. He's not a better fighter stylistically. He don't bring what I bring in the ring. I definitely want to put myself in the weight divisions with these guys that I want to compete against. I want to compete against a Gervonta Tank Davis. I would love to compete against a Devin Haney. I would love to compete against Lomachenko. These are the guys that I want. Them the guys that I would love to compete against, and I think the best way for me to do it is to put myself in a weight division that these guys are in.
So the only way you'd stay right now at featherweight is if you secure a fight with someone like Josh Warrington.
Yeah, that'll probably be the only reason why I stay at 26. It got to be something that's worth my while. At the end of the day, regardless of what your profession is, you know, you want to be properly compensated, you know, for what you're doing. We put a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of sacrifice into what we're doing, and I want to fight the best at this point. I don't want to fight just anybody. I don't want to fight anybody that's just coming along. I don't want to fight somebody that don't have the skill set that's going to push me to bring the best that I have out. You know, I'm a true competitor. You can ask any competitor out there, if you was compete against a team that you know isn't that good, you don't prepare, you don't give it 100%, you know. But when you know you got a team that's that's going to give it to you, they're going to give you the best they got. You know, it gives you a different level of energy. It gives you a different push to want to get up for it. You know, you push harder. And I'm one of those guys, I like to push hard no matter what, you know, and it's just unfair for me to be fighting these fans, fighting the guys that don't have the skill set that I have. And it's watering down the sport. The fans are the one that's truly getting bamboozled, because they pay to see the competitors compete, the best of the best. You know, a lot of the managers and promoters, or even the fighters, you know, they pick and choose who they want to fight. I'm one of those guys. I'm a real fighter. I'll fight anybody.